Hey guys, welcome to Cook with Nancy. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make this delicious and soft overnight cinnamon roll. This is easy to make because you just don't need any stand mix or hand mix. You're going to just knead it with the hand, and yet it is super soft, super delicious. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button right now. That way you don't miss on upcoming videos. To start off, here I have 4.5 cups of all-purpose flour, but I'm only going to add 4 cups and reserve half a cup for later purpose. Half a cup of sugar, that's granulated fine sugar, goes into the flour, and 1.5 teaspoon instant yeast. Since you are using instant yeast, you don't have to activate. 1 teaspoon salt away from the instant yeast. Now go ahead and use the spatula to combine all the flour mixture into the other ingredients together and set it aside. In another saucepan, I have 1 cup of warm milk, and to this I'm adding 60 grams of soft butter. Just make sure it's soft butter because we are adding this into a warm milk, not a boiling milk. Just gently mix them until it just melts into the milk. And in the flour mixture, now I'm going to add 2 large eggs and 1 egg yolk. Just a room temperature egg. We don't want it to be from the refrigerator. Just go ahead and whisk them gently just to break down the egg yolks into the flour. And once that is done, bring the milk and the butter mixture and go ahead and add the milk and the butter to the flour mixture. Go ahead and combine them with the spatula until the dough just comes together and the liquid is just well absorbed into the flour mixture. And once that is done, you can use your hand to bring the dough together and knead it, and you will see this is a little sticky. At this point, the reserved half a cup of flour comes in use. Then we are going to add just a little bit at a time, because sometimes what happens, you can end up using less flour. You might just need lesser than half a cup, or you might need whole half a cup. So just add a little bit at a time and then knead it until it's nice and firm dough. You don't want it to be too firm. It has to be just right consistency. So don't end up adding too much flour, more than half a cup of a flour. If it's still sticky, as you knead, it'll come together. So don't worry about the dough being little sticky. That's totally normal and totally fine. Shape it nice and smooth, and now put it in a greased pan or greased bowl and set it aside to double in size. It might take an hour to an hour and a half. If you're in a cold place, just put it in the oven with the lights on. That way it will double in size. In another bowl, I have 1 cup of dark brown sugar. If you have coconut sugar, you can use. If you don't have dark brown sugar, you can definitely use light brown sugar. And I'm adding 1.5 tablespoon cinnamon powder. Go ahead and mix well. Since I'm using the dark brown sugar, packed brown sugar, lump has a lot of lumps, so I want to mix them well until it's nice and sandy in texture. At this point, if you want to add some walnuts, pecans, you can chop them and add into the mixture and set it aside. Now the dough has doubled in size. It's beautiful and nice and soft. I'm going to gently punch down a little bit of air and bring the dough together down on the flat surface. I'm not going to knead it anymore. We are going to just round it, shape it just until it's nice and soft, and sprinkle some flour, and we are going to go ahead and roll it round or rectangle. Now I couldn't do the rectangle shape, so if you could actually roll it to rectangle, go ahead and roll it to rectangle shape. If not, a round shape would totally work because we are going to anyway cut the edges, but don't worry about it. Now once you roll it 1/4 inch thickness, I'm going to add 4 to 5 tablespoons of a soft butter. Now the butter has to be nice and soft, otherwise you cannot spread them around easily. So make sure you have soft butter and spread all over the dough without leaving any space around. Use your hand if you have to. Just go ahead and spread it all around the dough. Once that is done, we are going to take the cinnamon sugar. As you can see, it's nice and sandy in texture. That's exactly what we're looking for. When you use brown sugar especially, it tends to be lumpy, so have lumps. So make sure you mix them really well. Might take a little time. Now go ahead and spread them all around in the dough, and then press it down with your hand by spreading it all around the dough. That way it covers each and every corner of the roll. Now gently go ahead and roll your cinnamon roll. Now at this point, as I said, if you forgot to add your pecans, your nuts, this is the time you can actually add before you start rolling them. If you don't, just go ahead and roll it by bringing the edges together, and make sure you roll them nice and tight at this point, because if you don't roll them tight, when you cut them, it will tend to open up and then you might not have that nice compact cinnamon roll. Now bring them together, and if your edges are not even, just go ahead and cut it out, and then you can actually keep this as a snack. But my sides are fine. I'm going to just cut them any size that you need. Cut them to the desired shape, desired size. So when you cut them, just cut them into a nice good size piece so that you have nice fluffy cinnamon roll. It's not a mini cinnamon roll, so just make sure you have this good size cinnamon roll. Now here I have a baking tray that is I've already used the butter to grease it. Now I'm going to place the cinnamon rolls into the pan by giving them tight together. So make sure it's all nice and compact, so when they bake they get nice and fluffier and they rise higher. For some reason that's how it works. Now cover with the cling wrap and then refrigerate overnight. This is best part because next day morning you have your breakfast cinnamon roll ready. Now next day morning you want to remove at least an hour before you bake them, because the reason, if you put them cold cinnamon roll into the oven, it's going to be hard, so you don't want to do that. At least remove 60 minutes. It has to come to the room temperature, and then we are going to bake this at 375 degree Fahrenheit for 40 minutes depending on your temperature. Once it's nice and brown, you can remove it. While that is baking, I have here cream cheese that is 6 ounce soft room temperature. I'm going to cream it and add 3/4 cup of powdered sugar, or you can reduce if you want. Since cinnamon is already very sweet, you want to reduce it, you can definitely do that. Go ahead and cream it until they come together. Now at this point I'm also going to add vanilla extract. As we know, vanilla extract always lifts the flavor, so I'm going to add 1 teaspoon vanilla extract and 4 tablespoons heavy whipping cream. If you don't have a heavy whipping cream, go ahead and add milk. That totally works as well. For any reason, if your consistency is more or less thick or thin, you can always adjust by adding more cream or more sugar. Once it is done, set it aside and let's check the cinnamon roll. The cinnamon roll is beautifully done. It's nice, beautiful color, and it looks great. Now let it cool down a little bit before we add the cream cheese topping on top of this, otherwise it will melt away. So when it is slightly warm, at this point we can go ahead and add the cream cheese topping on top and just swirl it around and serve this hot, warm, however you prefer. And I hope you enjoy watching this video. This is a great breakfast recipe, cinnamon roll, and overnight is always a great option because next day you have this cinnamon roll just ready to be served right away. You don't have to wait the whole day to prepare your cinnamon roll, to prove them. So this is a great way. Try it and let me know how it turns out. I will see you soon in my next video. Till then, take care guys. Bye.